Hopefully I'm going live on the correct stream. We'll find out moments from now. It says online, so that's a pretty good sign. And hello, my name's Casey. If I'm doing this right, we're streaming on Captain Reboot, and we're going to be playing some D&D in a minute or two here. I just want to make sure that I've done this correctly. Everyone should be able to hear me talk, and if the other players could make some noise as well.
Boop, boop.
Low, 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 low.
Uh-oh.
Noise?
June is
Noise.
holding very, very still.
June!
Frozen.
June!
No!
No!
But I think I do see us on
Yes, we
It
appear to
was
be
showing
streaming correctly.
offline
it looks
at
like a white
first, but-
screen, but I swear that's the stream.
Yep, it's up there. I can see it blinking on my phone too. So we have accomplished streaming. Step 1. Now we just need to get June back in here.
Great.
And when she disconnects, it's going to go whop, whop, whop with all the viewports there. So give us just a second here. Normal level of technical difficulty. But while that's happening, we're going to be playing some D&D 5e. I've got a group of players who are working their way through Dragon Heist on their way down to the Undermountain and the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We're going to be having them update themselves in just a minute. The players so far have dealt with some troubles out in the wildlands, dealing with some necromancers and such. We've learned that one of the characters has a child that's gone missing, and others have friends, and one might have an enemy. Many of those are suspected to be down in the Undermountain. Right now, the party is working their way through oh, there we go. All scrambled now. They'll be back. They're working their way through the complex political system, trying to sort out who they may have alliances with and who they should not. Currently, the strongest alliance, I believe, is with the Zentarum, a rather shady group of totally respectable business people who have hired them to do certain odd jobs. The first one was to eliminate a threat. That threat was a drow, and that was dealt with reasonably. A little too much attention drawn, so they gave them a much simpler task. Just go deliver a potion. That was overcomplicated, but successful. And then they also did a little work for the Black Staff, the overseer of magic in the city. And that was go and visit a wise person, don't piss him off, and come back with some information. That they handled with 2 thumbs up. So they've returned to Trollskull Alley and Trollskull Manor, an establishment that they received from their, air quotes, friend, Volo, who is currently renting one of the attic rooms so that he doesn't escape without repaying some of the money due back, and finishing his new book, which he is working on. Let's see here. The party had put in a couple of purchase requests. Some fancy attire had been made. A Mastiff was purchased. A
Irish Wolfhound.
Irish Wolfhound was purchased and being brought in. That'll be arriving a little later today. And the party discovered that the manor house was haunted. The spirit of the old proprietor, a half-elf, who is still lurking about the place, making things difficult if they don't keep up with what he expects from the manor, which he had turned into a tavern and fine eating and drinking establishment that declined over the years until it failed when he failed. So, on this particular morning, the party is awoken by a very loud explosion. Just a few feet outside their door, a fireball has detonated. And where I'd like to sort of start off is a quick introduction of your characters, your character's name, race and class if you choose, and then what they would be doing at this crackerjack early in the morning. The sun is just up there, people getting their days started. There's a few folks out in the streets, mostly the kind of thing that happens before real business kicks off. And what were you all doing? Who would like to volunteer to go first? Oh, I see June volunteering.
Hi, I'm June and I play Clarity, and I am a bubblegum pink tiefling who is a monk. And early in the morning, I would probably doing jumping jacks or like handstands or something. I'd be stretching, meditating, and then stretching.
Sounds good. And I've brought up for the audience at home a picture of the cheerful and delightful Troll Skull Manor that is part of Troll Skull Alley. So with Clarity doing her calisthenics, who would like to go next? Oh, I see a hand.
Simone. Human rogue?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Memory's not so good. It's been a little while. I'd probably be drinking a black coffee and kind of like skulking about being like, why isn't everybody else awake? And possibly going and trying to drag Padinka out of bed.
Sounds good. So that's Clarity and Simone. Who we got next?
Well, Padinka's actually already out of bed today. She is a, again, I can't remember either. Rock gnome, cleric, with a side hustle, and she is currently inspecting all the pieces of the inn, picking up debris. She's gonna make a real effort every morning to get something done around the manor to at least make it less dangerous, if not more habitable.
Sounds good. So that's Clarity, Simone, Padinka. I've got 2 left to volunteer. Who's my next volunteer? Oh, there we go. Oh.
I'm Cheyenne. I play Urk. He's a sexy half-orc barbarian. And he would certainly be sleeping because I don't see Urk as someone who gets up before noon.
Very fair. So Urk is still abed, and then that brings us to Ashley. Ashley, what are you up to?
So Ashley found the one book that was still in the library. He like kind of snuck it in there, and he was looking it over. But it's early in the morning, and him being up this early is going to be shocking to everybody. But I don't think anyone really knows that. But he does not have a drink nearby.
Okay.
So he hears that, and he puts the book down, kind of like, that's odd.
Gotcha. And if you do me a favor and just tap your mic or move it up and down, I got a little bit of a burr coming when you're talking. You didn't have it a little earlier, so I assumed when you...
La 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 la. Do you hear my fan?
No, it's like a zzz noise. Well, we'll see if that goes away. But in the meantime, boom goes the fireball. And boom goes the fireball. Outside, enormous noise, huge eruption of flame. You can hear the sound of glass shattering, but a quick glance around the windows of your building, it doesn't appear to have damaged the manor. The fireball seems to have detonated a little bit to the south and a little bit to the west of Troll Skull Manor. And if you look at the map, you should see a bunch of little blue circles with little red X's in it. And those represent the unfortunate victims of this fireball. Now, with this sort of devastation happening, all manner of people are rushing out into the street. You can hear holler, calls for the guard, all sorts of things. What are you all doing?
Well, Padinka's going to rush out. She's also going to look for a bucket to put out any fires and keep an eye out on if there's anybody injured.
All right.
Clarity's got fire.
Go ahead.
Clarity's got fire resistance because she's a tiefling, so she's probably going to try and see if there's anybody in the building that needs to come out.
Sure.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what's going on? What's on fire?
Sure. So for the 3 that are looking into it, could I have 3 separate perception checks from you, please? FG, a squirrel. Thank you for the subscription. These are hard to read. So.
Hi, Tyler.
Let's see here. It looks. Whoop. Yeah, that autofocus video is going crazy for you there.
2 of you there.
So as you rush out, that was Clarity's roll, correct? The 17?
No. Wait.
There's
Oh, that was a while ago. I was testing the thingy.
Okay, there was the 9.
Clarity was a 9, yeah.
Got it. So you all rush out. A quick survey. You can see that a number of carts were damaged, but it doesn't seem like anything has caught and is in danger of burning. However, there's a good half dozen or more people down on the street. Padinka, as you rush out to them, even from this distance, you can tell that they are dead. They are just charred corpses at this point. No signs of life to them. It doesn't look like anyone was caught on the outskirts of this. A fairly tightly packed group of 8 or so people were caught in the explosion and pretty well decimated. Others are now rushing towards it. Those that you see downed, looks like 4 or 5 of them were halflings. Perhaps young, perhaps old, a little hard to tell. You know, there were several halfling families in the area. Those would be the ones closest to you, Padinka. A little further away, you see some human shapes, 6 foot or so. And then between the two, a smaller shape, smaller even than the halflings, probably a gnome or something to that effect. Very slight and slender as well as short.
these all crispy critters, and we won't be able to identify them, or are they just sort of
they're crispy
really
critters.
mangled?
They're crispy critters from this distance, but if you get a bit closer, you can probably turn them over, move back some of the scorched cloth and debris from around them, and check out in a little more detail.
Yeah, that's what Padinka would do. Is she would go and lay out the bodies. She's also going to be keeping an eye out for anything that makes this group, marks the people of this group, that sort of identifies who they are, and to see if there's any common thread among them.
Sure.
At this point, I would say that maybe I came downstairs, and it's like that building. Is it on fire right now? Are there people still inside of it?
No. So this was a fireball, the spell.
Okay.
So it was a huge explosion of flame, but it's not very well sustained. So you can see where a lot of things that would react to instant heat have done so. So you can see where the straw up in the thatching has sizzled away, but there wasn't enough sustained heat to really keep it going. And
Got it.
You feel that a little attention now could make sure it doesn't catch. The places where it is a little smoldery, you can see people already and yourself working to knock it down and make sure it doesn't catch.
But is there maybe a way that I can see where that fireball maybe had come from?
Sure. So let's talk about the things that are happening. So I've got Padinka moving over towards the bodies. Now, Padinka, give me a investigation check. Okay. So now I heard you say that you were laying out the bodies. To me, what that means is you're turning them over and, straightening them out, arms at their sides, that sort of thing. Is that kind of what you meant?
Yeah, probably whatever pose makes the most sense for just getting them organized and trying to find ways to identify them so the family can find them.
Sure. So Padinka, you start working, and the ones closest to you, there are 4 halflings. You've seen the families around. From the look that this is of the halfling family, but the faces are a bit burnt up, and I'm not sure how much time you've really spent with the halflings yet. Ashley, you might have a better thought on this one if you go over there, because you did a little bit with the brewing with them.
Okay.
Padinka, from what you can tell at a quick glance, these are young adults, and you can see that they had a flute and a fiddle and some cymbals, so likely they were putting on a little performance, doing a little busking out in the street before that they were caught. Now, Ashley, can I have an investigation check from you?
Yeah. Oh no, it's Jebediah. We were students together.
Jeb.
Where is my investor? It is. Oh no.
That's
Oh,
pretty
okay.
good. So you get over there and you start looking, and unfortunately, you're like, okay, I can figure this out based on, and you realize Padinka has turned all the bodies around, so a lot of the evidence that you would need to see where the blast had come from has kind of been ruined by having her now have lined everyone up. You'd have to basically put them back into spot to see like where the burn marks had come from and that sort of thing.
Is it too late to put them back? The families are like walking up. Oh no, Jebediah!
It would take a little thing, and you'd be sort of massing this. So we're going to flip to the others. What is everybody else doing?
So probably when I saw this, I probably would have known this looked weird, but not known what it was,
Mhm.
because Simone doesn't really know magic that well. So I probably would have used the Raven to have it see if there was anything strange going on, because it seems really weird that there's just one fireball in one place.
Mhm.
Like anybody suspicious, because maybe a little firebomb. I don't know. And then I probably would have tried to pay attention to the bird, but see what else needed help with in the area.
Sure. So
But kind of keeping an eye out.
So as you send the bird up, could I get a perception check from you, please, using the bird as your eyes to kind of survey the area?
I click something on the bird for that?
You can hit your own perception on that one.
Oh, okay. That'll be great. I have terrible perception.
That's not too bad. So you do notice that there are a lot of people now rushing into the area, and the bird is smart enough to do, look up thing, and as it sees the shadow overhead, one of the griffin riders that patrol the city has swooped over and is making a pass, just keeping an eye because of the little cloud of smoke and fire that had gone up in the past. The bird does pick out that hanging out over here around the corner, not running towards or away like most of the people are doing, is another halfling hiding behind a rain barrel, just sort of peeking out at the area. And we'll pick up on what you want to do there. Urk and Clarity, what are you up to?
If we heard the fireball, wouldn't we be able to tell where it was coming from if it went past our house? Because it went through that little alleyway, didn't it?
So it's more of a whoop whoop kind of noise. Like if you were just hear like a firecracker go off outside, you would kind of know it's in that direction, but you didn't hear like a zzz go past you. Sorry for the sound effects.
You don't have to be
good.
sorry. They're great. I think Clarity is just kind of checking on everybody and making sure that the people running in are okay and that nobody else got hurt. I think that she kind of is following up with Padinka as far as making sure that there's damage control basically.
Okay. So Clarity, give me a quick insight check. And then as that's coming up, Urk, what are your thoughts?
So Urk just kind of got startled awake as this was happening, and I see him kind of stumbling outside, but he hasn't really figured out what's going on. He's kind of just frantically trying to put out fire.
Gotcha. So Urk's doing the bedsheet toga kind of thing, just staggering around.
Alligator cloak,
Got it.
Just the alligator cloak.
Just the alligator cloak. It's how you sleep. Those
are his jammies.
We
never specified where the alligator heads were.
You can do anything you want. I allow the art for you all. Oh no, they've frozen again.
Look how it froze. That was great.
They came up though. It was a good freeze.
Yeah.
So you start moving around, and other folks are joining in and starting to help out. You can hear the conversation start. It sounds like there are some witnesses to what happened, but you haven't been able to identify who and what yet. Oh, excuse me 1 second.
Is it my brother or is it my mom? Who is it? Is it a cat?
There's a water ice
is it
run
Bubbles?
being done. What's that?
Water ice, what? Like Kona?
Like Rita's? So that was Lainey walking in, coming over here, sign languaging at me, and I don't know sign language. So by the way, that's my version
You
of sign
should
language.
learn.
Yeah, that it turned into that, and then I was like, then I took my headphones off. She's like, read us, and I'm like, oh yes, of course. So that was that.
Custard.
Yep.
Their custard is so good.
Yeah, raspberry lemonade with cheesecake custard is what's going on.
Oh,
That's where we're
They
going.
have a cheesecake
man.
custard.
They have a cheesecake custard. So, but in the meanwhile,
Not sponsored.
not sponsored, but
But
you know,
Ritas, you can sponsor us.
Hey, in
Yeah.
some states they're open.
you send it, we will eat it on stream and enjoy. Some of us don't like lactose as much, so it might be straight water ice for a few of us, but that's okay.
I like mango water ice. It's fine.
There you go. But in the meanwhile, I need some ideas as to what you're doing as you're laying out these bodies. Halflings are coming up. They do identify family members. Oh, they were out. Simone, the younger one, still hanging back there behind the rain barrel. And there are a few folks that have come forward as witnesses, but everybody's asking questions at the same time. Is anyone taking charge of the situation?
Avoid the groups of people, and I'm probably going to try to wander over to the halfling
Okay.
and just like have the bird kind of come down, so I seem more friendly because I think the bird makes me more friendly.
I think
And
it does
just-
the opposite.
And just be like, come up to him and have the bird be like, "You okay?" And cock its head.
So could I see some charisma-based roll for what you feel is appropriate here, whether it's
Gosh.
persuasion, performance,
no.
something. Just
Simone out here
Well-
trying to smile like,
my performance and my deception are about equal, so I guess I'll go with performance because I can't do acrobatics.
that
for
might
this.
be more intimidating. Okay, so
Okay,
you
it's not bad. It's not bad. I
Not
at
bad.
least,
not bad. So the halfling looks up at you, and it takes a moment. Maybe I'm not sure how much time you spent with halflings to gauge the age, but he is very young. He's about 12 years old, and he's sort of ducked down behind the rain barrel. And as the bird peeks over and says, "You all right?" and you're over there, he like looks up, I'm fine. Hi. Don't hurt me. Hi.
Just be like, "You okay? You look shaken."
Yeah.
And
Well,
super
I was
sticky form.
just going over to, see my friends, and then there's an explosion, and I mean, right after the explosion, I ducked behind the rain barrel, and he's. Can I see a insight or perception, maybe?
Oh gosh, I really wish I'd taken Padinka with me.
So as he's talking, he's like holding his hand over his arm like that, and just sort of like squeezing in on himself, like trying to make himself small. Can I go?
I'm going to ask to see his hand, and if he fights me, I'm going to intimidate him. Actually, let me investigate him. I mean, like, it looks like there's something wrong with your hand. Can I see what that is?
So I would take a.
I have a friend that's a healer.
I would take a DC 8, so an 8 or better, on an intimidation or a persuasion, your choice. Otherwise, he's gonna run.
Intimidation or persuasion. Well, they're both about the same for me, so.
Oh, that's pretty good. So he goes, no, I'm fine, and he turns over his hand, and he sort of does the "I'm not hiding anything behind my back" routine, but you can see that there is a bracelet with several beads on it on his wrist. Like little glass beads.
Interesting. My bird comes over and is like, "Pretty? Shiny?" I'm probably gonna be like, hey, how about you just come over? I have a friend who is not like me and is actually friendly, and I'd like you to talk to her because she's helping to take care of your friends.
Sounds good. So he sort of is persuaded to come along, and he walks out. And as he does, you can see that the bracelet's not really much of a bracelet. It looks like he just looped a necklace or some other ornament several times around his wrist, and there's little dangly bits with those beads coming off the bottom there. It doesn't look at all like it belongs on his wrist. Yeah, of course. I think I'm fine though. And you take him to.
Yeah, he just seems rattled, so I just, want him to have somebody who deals with people.
And whom do you take him to see?
I'm gonna take him to Padinka because I know she's already. I'm gonna be like. I'm gonna put him by probably like the front porch of our inn, or
Okay.
set him down inside. I'll be like, just so you don't have to look at this, you can just sit here for a second. I'm gonna go out and get her, so that way you don't have to look at any of that anymore. And I'll go
I
get
appreciate
Padinka.
that you considered you were walking him over to the burned bodies of the halflings and then redirected. So I feel like that was very well planned. So you sort of like.
And I'll leave my bird. I'll leave my bird with him so he's not alone, and be like, the bird's actually friendly, much friendlier than me. You can pet him gently, so that way.
And he's just like.
Yeah, in the meantime, with everybody starting to crowd around, Padinka's going to realize that, like, crowd control there's nobody doing crowd control. And she's just going to start yelling and pointing, Urk! Keep everybody who's not a part of this back. Ashley, go round up the witnesses. Clarity, even though you're not here, go make sure that there's with the other bodies. And so she's sort of starting to flag people.
Can I just say, because it's funny, I was thinking about when we were going to go around where I can start like questioning people. So when you're yelling that, and I'm already talking, just like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah, do it.
Urk is just like arms out, great axe out, like stay back.
Okay.
So could I actually be like talking to maybe just as like a group of people, so we're not like talking to one individual person, but I'm asking like questions like, hey, did you see anything? No. Okay, if you didn't really see anything right now, like help get anybody like anything else out of control, or maybe just get out of the area so we can kind of keep things calm here. But I'm asking like, what did you see? Did you see anything? Do you see where this came from? Like, what happened?
Sounds good. So Fala, who runs Corleon's Crown, the herbalist in the area, she's got a shop just a little bit down the way, and she is over here. And are you able to see my icon? Nope, I'm on the wrong layer. Let's try that again. How about now? Yeah. Okay, so that's Fala right there, and she comes down, and she was inside her house, and she lets you know that, I was watering the plants in my greenhouse on the second floor of my shop when the blast blew out some of the windows. I was lucky; I wasn't injured. Through the smoke, though, I did see a cloaked man take something from the body of the dead gnome. And then he started limping away. I think he was caught in the blast. He was pretty badly burned, and he kept looking back, like he was afraid someone might be following him. He was headed toward the Bent Nail, which is the furniture shop, over this way. So he cut past where that halfling would have been, and down this way.
So, thank you. And so he was limping, right? Like he was burned. All right. I'm gonna thank you for that. And then I'll just say, like, could you just like maybe help out and see if anyone's hurt? You're an herbalist. Like, see what you can do and help out these people. And I'm gonna start walking towards the Bent Nail. But is there any way I'm gonna like look and be like point and say like I'm going this way?
You could definitely communicate that. We'll let you know enough time has passed that you're not going to follow anything immediately.
Okay.
And there's a woman who's been waiting to talk to you now that you're trying to wrap everybody up. And as you
Cool.
start to try and move away, she's like, humph. And you sort of give a look back and give her a quick up and down, and she is definitely wearing the trappings of nobility. She might not be upper echelon, but she's definitely got a title of some sort and wants people to know about it.
Can I, did you see something?
Well, what I can tell you, do you want to write this down? The culprit was not a man, more like a puppet, shaped like a man. A puppet without strings. It was up on the rooftop over there. It hurled something into the crowd below that caused the explosion. I saw those halflings burned alive. I saw it.
Where did you see it exactly? You said that from up where?
Well, I had just left Mr. Trench's establishment, and Vincent Trench, the private investigator over here. And I was coming around the corner, so she was walking this way, and I saw, up on the rooftop here, that little figure of a man that I described, a puppet. Now, no strings, I didn't see anything like that, but only yay high, and she measures out about a foot or so. And it threw something, and then it took off running up the roof and across and down that way.
You're talking on top of the rooftops.
On top of the rooftops.
And when he threw... Sorry.
Go ahead. It was a very light little creature. I think it could just run across it without disturbing it much.
Small, light?
Small, a foot or so high, very spindly looking, like a one of those toys that you see, the marionettes.
Like an actual toy puppet.
It did seem that way.
That just doesn't make sense. Is there any way that I'm like going to investigate, like maybe Arcana? Maybe know something like that?
Sure, I think an Arcana might.
Do you smell alcohol in her breath?
I would know.
You do not.
Do you partake in the mint wine?
You do not smell alcohol in her breath. Actually, she smells fantastic. She is wearing the latest scent.
Gotcha. I'm going to hit on her after this.
You can try, but how about that Arcana first?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good Arcana. So I don't think you are personally familiar with anything along those lines, but you might know where to go to find out. And the best place in the area is probably going to be the Temple of Gond. Gond is a deity that specializes in craft and invention, and they do have a Wonderworks, a place of many intricate designs in the city. Similar things, often march and parades, mechanical contraptions, but nothing quite of that design that pops to mind.
Okay. So knowing that I kind of have some more information and time has kind of passed, I don't really know much about whatever this kind of magic or craft is, but I think maybe my next best bet is to go check out that rooftop.
Sure.
You said that was on top of the Mr. Trench's private investigator shop?
Actually, it would be up above Fala's shop. So where Fala is down here to the south, that's where
that was thrown?
So the lady indicates that it was thrown from up here, and then the little creature ran in this direction.
Over there. Okay. Yeah, I would like to see if there's a way I can get on top of the roof.
Sure.
Cool.
That's a little strange, but you could. What
if there's some sort of evidence up there?
If you remember right, I have stuff for getting onto a roof.
There you
one
go.
Of our other encounters.
Second
Let's
story.
do it.
Out of character.
Hold on a second. So how about I walk over to where you're, like, everyone's kind of grouped up, maybe the kids there, and be like, guys, bit of a lead. I got to find a way to get on top of this roof. Do we have any? I don't even know how to get up there. I'm not fit. Last time I hurt my ankle. It's It's really
Are you asking everybody or just the people that are right next to you?
Whoever's nearby. I feel like we're kind of on a group, right? Maybe Simone had walked past a little bit, so maybe I can like kind of see the kid as the kid's walking by. Hey, kid.
Like the kid's already sitting down, and I came out while you were talking to all the witnesses. So I probably talked to him, settled him in. I'm coming out to talk to
Yeah.
Padinka because I want to let. So maybe the three of us meet up.
Okay.
Because I'm assuming you were already investigating the bodies. Padinka's probably still there,
I didn't
trying
say
to
thank
just
you
yell
to
at people. At least that's my interpretation of it as Simone, is she's just yelling at people.
yeah.
And so I'm going to tell you guys about the kid and the fact that he has a strange thing, like beaded thing on his wrist. So I might be like, I can try to go up there and look. I can try to get you up there with me, maybe. I don't know how easy that's going to be.
If there's any way to try, because I kind of have an idea of what's going on with this magic, but you said this kid has some sort of item. The lady I just talked to in Fal has just noticed, said something about this figure that I was talking about. Grabbed something off
and
of.
I'm going to mention that kid was in the corner, like behind the barrel.
So he might have seen something.
So like
That's
you
the
see
same
that,
direction.
you see that little blue icon on the screen? That's where the kid was sitting. And so you had two witnesses. You had the one, are you telling us about the other witness too, who said there was somebody who ran down the alley as well?
On top of the rooftops, but in the same direction, if that's where you said that.
Okay, so
that
you're not
kid
telling
was.
us. Okay, so then I don't know about the other witness statement. Okay.
No, I'm
making it
telling you
clear that
about
I
the two
don't.
people in the shop. Like I'm disclosing all of that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if so, I'm going to be, well, like the kid should have seen that if he really was there going to see his friends and he saw them get burned alive.
Okay.
And otherwise, something's up with this kid. The other thing is, if the kid was there and he was hiding behind that barrel, he might have heard something behind him as well.
She said that this was a light, small figure about a foot high. I mean, this almost matches the description of this kid. I'd hate to say that some kids are responsible, but I think we might need to go talk. Where's the kid at?
I didn't want to say it, but that's why I'm saying maybe we should talk
You're
to
like,
him.
hold on,
I'm like in character right now. I'm like, let's go punch this kid.
Okay, so you all sort of
Ashley, let's go gather facts. Let's go talk to the kid.
Yeah.
We don't know that he might have seen something. He might have just been an innocent bystander. We should go talk to him, okay?
Yeah, talk to him quick. I'll go do a quick save check on the roof to make sure I don't disturb anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll try to set it up so I can bring you up with me. So that way I have time to make like a safe rig to bring.
We're looking for anything that might seem somewhat like a contraption or something that may be built. It's some sort of mechanical craft that we're looking for is what this lady told me about. So if you see anything like that, maybe don't touch it, but just take note.
Something.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So say that
Padinka's going with you. I'm probably gonna take Clarity with me, and I'm gonna talk to Clarity and Urk and see who would like to go with me. How about that? Because I think Urk would be better crowd managing with all the dead bodies around. Just to make
that
sure
was going to be my question. Like, are there still lots of people crowding?
Because at some point in time we need to get the guards here, because we don't want to get in trouble for not getting them involved.
Okay.
Do we want to like say Urk should go get the guards?
So the guards have already been called for. So you do know the guards are on the way. Their response time in this particular alley is not great, but they should be here fairly soon. You can hear them approaching off in the distance, but you still got a few more minutes to yourself. Now, the bodies have all been laid out. Urk's been standing guard. Urk, have you been looking over the bodies, or are you just keeping everybody back?
Probably just keeping everybody back.
Okay, so Urk's just been on crowd control, just keeping everybody at a distance.
He's still sleepy.
Urk, can I get an insight check from you, please?
What was the check?
Insight. Okay, everybody in the crowd seems to be mostly behaving. You get a little flow back and forth as, people get pushed a little forward, curiosity look, and then you back it up, and they take a few steps back. But everybody seems to be behaving reasonably well. Now, as you start indicating an interest in getting up on the roofs, Simone, Clarity, and Urk with the assist if needed. Fala, who runs the greenhouse on the second floor, says no problem. She opens up one of her skylights and helps you get up there. Now, it's not like designed for this, so you still got to be a little careful. It is a greenhouse, so as much glass as she could get up there to get the light in, she has. So could I get a dexterity saving throw? Just don't botch it.
For Simone and Clarity?
From Simone and Clarity up on the rooftop there.
Clip, clip, clip.
What am I rolling?
Dexterity? Sorry. No problem. Dexterity saving throw, please.
I got distracted by somebody's personal story that she just showed us.
No problem. Okay, so up on the rooftop, no trouble at all. Clarity and Simone, whoever would like to take point, please roll an investigation with advantage from the other person. So whoever's in charge of the investigation up there.
I got a 5, Clarity. Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, you do it. I got a 2.
And you're gonna boost me?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep. So with advantage.
Fingers crossed. Is it not rolling?
Yep, there we go. 20 came through. So you start sort of tracking along, and you can see in the the dust and the city grit and the little leaves and stuff that stick to roofs up there, a little series of tracks that do start off from over in this direction here, head along the roofs, hugging the edge. And bending around until eventually it moves off in this direction. And then somewhere
tracks?
around, sorry again?
How big are these tracks, and do they look like footprints or like
tiny? Like they are just
look like
almost little dots.
Tic-tac footprints.
Little tic-tac footprints, basically.
Plankton was here.
Definitely not matching the size of halfling feet, even young halfling feet. These are, 30 sizes too small here. They look like, Barbie and Ken feet.
Can I take an impression and match the shoe to the little halfling we have in the bar?
I mean, you can definitely take an impression and match it to his big toe, but that's about as close as it's gonna come.
Why do you have a toe? Well, funny story, that.
But you do notice that right about this area, just above where that halfling was found, there's a slide. It looks like whoever was running hit a patch of wet leaves and slid down and smashed into the gutter. Now, the gutter is just barely torn away from the roof, just a tiny bit, but you can see where something small had slid down and clonked on it.
Disappear off into the distance until there's no dirty leaves. I mean, I'm assuming that's the tracks just disappear.
And then eventually
Clarity's
the tracks fill in.
Clarity's staring am I supposed to... Wait,
I'm
do this.
pointing out
It makes it easier.
I'm like, Clarity, you see this right here? You see this right here? He slipped here. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yeah, I do that all the time.
And then you look back at Clarity's gotten excited at the prospect, and the tail's just whopping back and forth, just destroying all the evidence.
Do I see?
No.
Do we see anything else in that area around the broken gutter?
So
or is it just it looks like something happened there?
So it looks like that the little man slipped, fell, smashed into the gutter, and then got up and continued on. So there was a tumble or a problem that happened there.
So there's nothing in the gutter. There's nothing like that.
Nothing in the gutter there. No.
This little bracelet of his is getting mighty interesting. So Clarity, do you want to keep looking, or do you want to go back and talk to Padinka and Ashley?
So after the slip, it just you can't see anything else?
So after the slip, it got back up, ran up and down the other side of the building, and then it hit a span of building where the leaves had been cleaned off. There was nothing really there, and then eventually the trail goes cold. either it jumps down and runs across the ground, or it continues on across a steeper incline roof where you can't find a track on it.
Is there anything like... Okay, wait, never mind. I was going to say, is there anything tall that I could, like, climb and then, like, look? But then we have a bird. Like, there's no point in me doing that.
Yes. And
you're
the bird,
already on a roof.
Yeah, and you're already up on a roof, and the bird did not see a little person running away, so that had happened within seconds of the fireball while you were still stumbling out of the house.
Here's the thing, though, is, like, I get that we're, like, adventurers, like, out of context, we're adventurers, but, like, isn't this the guard's job?
Isn't this the guard's job? That sounds like an excellent time for
What guard?
As the guards start showing up. About 20 or so, actually. They do send a reasonable-sized detachment, most of which just move about, saying, move along, little Officer Barbrady there. But 2 seem reasonably capable. And we're going to say that this is about the time when you are descending from the roof, so you're coming back down off the roof, and Padinka and Ash, you haven't put the thumb screws to this halfling yet. What were you doing to the 12-year-old halfling boy while they were up on the roof?
Okay.
So, do you want to take lead on this, or do you want me to?
I just know some information, but I'm going to need you to kind of be my buffer here because I am a little itchy scratchy.
Okay. So I'm going to take the kid in, get him a glass of water.
Are we going inside the are we going inside the salon, the inn?
We're sitting on the porch either way. Just
let's be on the porch.
Get the kid comfortable. Sit down with him, be on his level.
Okay.
Say, I know that you were in a place where lots of stuff just happened. Are you hurt at all?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Then I'm going to need to ask you a couple questions, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So you were sitting at a very key place, actually, because a lot of stuff happened all around you, and you may have seen something that's very important to understanding what happened. Do you want to help us?
Yeah.
Are you on mute, Casey?
Yep.
Okay. Because you're like...
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now, but we thought you were just being like a silent kid being
no,
like...
I'm sorry.
I thought he was smacking his lips.
No, apparently I wasn't talking long enough. He's been saying, yep, I want to help.
Okay. So, tell me what you saw while you were where you were.
Well, I was coming because I heard the music, and I wanted to see what everybody was doing. And I was just cutting through the yard like I do.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there was just fire everywhere.
Yeah.
So I saw it happen. And so I just dove behind the rain barrel. And I pulled up my hood. And I waited because there's a lot of screaming and everything and people running everywhere. And then I heard like a bloop kind of noise, and that was it.
Okay. So you had your hood over your eyes the whole time? After the explosion?
I kept my head down.
Okay. Did you see anybody go past you?
People were running past me both ways, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see anyone until that bird came up and sort of
talked to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I get down a little bit? I'm gonna need to ask you something real quick, son. That piece of jewelry that you have in your hand, where did you get that?
Oh, well, I found this, and I thought, well, I mean, thought it would help,
Do you mind if I see it?
And he sort of takes it and starts unwinding it from his wrist and offers it out to you.
Cool. I'm going to take it, and at that point, I'm going to want to kind of investigate it
Sure.
to see if it matches maybe the description of something that I might have seen before, while Padinka kind of continues asking questions.
Sure. Give me a quick Arcana check.
Cool.
Yeah, you're pretty sure you know what this is.
Okay.
And it looks a little like that. So, you're like, oh, and you're like, yeah, you 12-year-old boys do not get to play with necklaces of fireball. So you're familiar with this sort of thing. It works a lot like a spell scroll, but all you have to do is detach one of the beads and huck it at something, and a fireball's going to happen.
I'm gonna just give a little bit of a nudge, so the kid doesn't necessarily get it, but Padinka gets it. This is the thing. And
So tell me, where did you find this? You said you found it. Where did you find it?
Well, like I said, I was hiding behind the rain barrel, and then I heard this bloop kind of noise, and I looked up and I could see the water was disturbed, so I looked in and I saw the necklace there, so I took it. Don't tell my mom.
No worries, kid. And you said you thought it would help. Did you mean help? How?
I was gonna sell it and give the money to my
okay.
mom, but and he's of a family that's busking on the street for coins, so probably not upper class himself.
Where's your family right now?
And he sort of looks towards the bodies. I mean, a couple of my cousins, but my mom's.
Where's your mom?
Back over, and he gestures to the ward near where the halflings have their little dwelling.
Okay,
over near the brewers area.
I'm gonna walk him back, Ashley. How about you regroup with everybody else and tell them what you found?
Sure.
I was just gonna actually, and I'll be like, do you mind if I just speak with you for a second?
Sure. I think basically right then, because it seems like a good inconvenient spot, is you're like, could we just have a moment to ourselves? And then you hear as two rather interesting, I think, looking fellows come marching in with the guard.
He's like a 2 on a good day.
On a good day.
That's a little harsh.
Not many of them around these days.
I mean, if he stayed out of the sun a little bit more, he might be Simone's type.
Dude, this guy looks groovy.
This guy's awesome.
Nice.
He looks like he listens to
enjoy some mint wine.
Now, there's about 20 or so of the city guard that have spread themselves out and started, moving about. And then these two show up, and they appear to be more or less in charge. The one fellow, the rather portly staff, big badge of office, screams mage, and you do recognize the emblem as being one from the Black Staff. So obviously city personnel in charge of magic. The other has that little bit bookish sort of look. He's older. Looks retired, still carries his sword, but isn't wearing any insignia or badges. The guards have been rushing back and forth to them with information, and now the pair of them are starting down the line, which puts them at odds with Urk, who's trying to keep people away from the corpses. So, Urk, as these two gentlefolk approach, they sort of look toward you, and one says, "Now, my good fellow, I appreciate what you're doing here, but we are with the watch, so we will need access. Take a step back, please."
I'm gonna need to see some identification. I know my rights.
And he just sort of like looks down at himself like he's not wearing a giant outfit of purple with a big badge in front of him. Like, yes, well, clever.
Urk's not very smart.
Urk didn't do a perception check.
I was just gonna say, when we found the necklace on the boy and what it was, I started having the theme song "The Cops" playing in my head, and it just started again once you did that. That I know my rights.
All right.
So, I have a feeling he's going to be back in a second because I don't think that's my flavor, but we'll see how that goes.
Looks like root beer.
I'm not sure, but I'm sure it'll be delicious either way. So Barnabas sort of like looks to. I'm obviously with the Force there. He holds up his emblem. Now, I understand magic was involved, which is why I am here. My good friend Saith Cromley here is involved in the murder and in managing the guard. He'll be accumulating the evidence now. Were you here during the explosion?
Yep.
Excellent. And you witnessed it firsthand?
I was near the explosion. Asleep.
Explosion adjacent.
Explosion adjacent, yes. Well, now, I see we have the bodies all laid out. That's, I suppose, efficient of you, but that does tamper with the evidence. Do you remember how they were laying when you found them?
You might want to talk to one of my friends.
Yes. I will want to talk with all of your friends.
This one and this one. Urk is going to show
great.
them.
Do we hear this? Like maybe like we should come around the
Yeah,
corner.
where we're at.
Yeah, I feel like you sort of pick up on it because all of the looky-loos are starting to just fade away. Everybody who's not directly involved sort of being weeded out by the guard, and it just sort of moving away. The fun's passed, and now the guard's here.
Just gonna come over and talk to these fine gentlemen.
Yes. Hello. My name is Barnabas. This is my friend Saith. We are investigating the occurrence from today. And it looks as though a explosion, fire, not a lot of debris, so magic likely involved. We'll have confirmation on that shortly. Now, were any of you directly involved?
We were all inside when the explosion happened. We came out as a part of a sort of emergency response to the explosion to see if anybody was still alive. Unfortunately, there were many who weren't.
Yes, I can see. I appreciate your efforts. Now, you said came out. Where did you come out from?
We own this tavern here, the Troll Skull Manor, so we were all inside the manor at the time.
We're not really keen to fire around a tavern.
Are we still on the roof?
No,
you basically
down.
just came down, so you're sort of like descending
I'm assuming
into
we're
this.
finishing coming down and coming over because everybody's there and
Yep.
just kind of like.
Well, because I think Clarity would have like been standing on the roof and been like, "Hey, you guys should see this. Are you good at climbing?
Do you want to come up?
And
I
like,
can help."
As you're like saying that, the purple robed fellow Barnabas is Saith. Do you wish? Saith's like, yes, it would be helpful. And you see him do a little whoop whoop whoop, and then Saith just sort of levitates up and drifts over next to you, Clarity.
Me next.
Oh, this isn't for fun. We're on serious business here, although I appreciate your ability to keep a light spirit in dire times.
While I see that some stuff's going on, and I've heard this conversation, I actually, because Padinka walked away, which kind of leaves me with the kid. But I can kind of see where this might be going, and I have that necklace on me, so I'm gonna hopefully the kid comes with me, but I want to get the kid out of there. I don't want to give these guards any more than they need because they haven't been so great in the past with us.
Do I see you from where I am? Because if I see you, I can look at you.
I am actually. I think I'm like over here. Actually,
know something's up because I left my raven with the kid.
Can you alert me to this? Because I was fully ready to comply and help these guys out. Like,
you went right over there. I'm sitting like
no.
that's like.
So out of character. My plan is to like make eye contact, him be like, and I'm gonna be like, and I'm gonna have my bird drop it off back where the kid found it.
No. We cannot let this. We need this necklace, but we
Okay.
cannot be caught with it. So,
So-
like,
Oh,
I'm gonna
I'm
be
not-
like, I'm gonna be like,
So let me
I gotta
pause that.
go.
Let me pause that for one. So Saith is floated up by Barnabas and goes and starts looking at what Clarity is pointing out. Barnabas says, "Well, I have a bit of work to do. If you don't mind, I'll speak to you all shortly. Please do not leave the area.
We'll be
And-
right in Troll Skull Manor if
Yes,
you need us.
I'll meet you there shortly." And they start working through. Now, Saith is a very attentive fellow. Clarity, when you start pointing out, what do you want to point out to him, by the way, up there?
The itty bitty footprints.
Okay, so he sort of floats along, and he gets down into these footprints. He is floating inverted, like his eyes are like right above the ground. It's just like floating along, his feet hanging up in the air.
I do a handstand next to him. I'm walking on my hands next to him.
He,
I'm like, does that make it easier?
he just like looks at you for a second. I suppose that, but you might disturb the tracks. The floating is the key, not to disturb. But if you look here, and he starts, it looks like, and he gestures. Yes, there was an approach from this direction. It stayed here for a time and then ran in this direction. You can see from the way the slides that it was moving at speed. And then it gets to over here, and this takes a few minutes. And he, describes it must have slid here, hit, and then run further. Now, the rest of you have had a chance to move off, and after a while, Saith sends sort of Clarity away because I think Clarity acts as more of a distraction than a help at certain times.
Definitely.
So the party will have a few moments to themselves in Troll Skull Manor. Now, the entirety of the alley is swarming with officers at this point. But you and the halfling boy are in Troll Skull Manor, and the only other spirit in there is Lif the ghost. What are you all doing? Feel free to talk amongst yourselves, and I'm going to wolf down some readers.
Hold on, wait,
Yep.
real quick. Does Lif take a physical form now, or
Lif
no?
does
Is he
not.
still
You're just a spiritual presence.
Okay. I think Clarity's trying to ease the tension, especially with the boy, because he sounds like he needs some good fun. So she's like, "Oh, your family does tricks. I can do some tricks," and then like is trying to juggle like 3 of the really like nasty tankards that we hadn't cleaned yet, or something like that. And is like trying to make a show for him.
Yeah, that's
So
definitely
maybe-
how to get on Lif's good side, is juggle dirty tankards in his tavern.
I'll wash him after.
Yeah, you're getting haunted later on, just so you know.
I
So-
haven't yet. I haven't been yet. So like, go for it.
So while Clarity's doing that, I'm probably going to go over to Padinka and Ashley and be like, try to find out, what did you find out from the kid? Because it's really weird. It looks like there was a skid mark directly above where the kid was hiding, and the gutter was even smashed. Like,
The kid
and
had
he didn't
found.
notice anything?
He did. Whatever that was running dropped what I think was actually the weapon, and I'll show like the fireball necklace. But bigger topics right now is these guards are all up on here, and we've had a bad experience with them in the past. If they find out that this kid had this necklace, they're going to try and blame it on somebody, or something's going to happen with us. They cannot find this necklace.
Kid's not going to lie for us.
He's not going to lie. We gotta. He's 12, but we cannot lose this necklace. We need to find out what this is connected to. We know 2 things: that whatever this was that was running over the rooftops did not seem like it was anything mortal. It was like some sort of creation, like a puppet. And now we have the actual weapon. And do I notice on this necklace that a piece, like one of those things, was missing?
You do notice that there is at least 1 bead missing.
Yeah. So we need to investigate this, because
Well, why
if we
don't
just give it to the guards, they're
why
gonna
don't
just
we
take
do
it.
that with the guards? Offer our help.
The last time we worked with the guards, they took the evidence, and then we got screwed over with the group that we were trying to help. We can't let that happen again. We need to be more careful, and I think this is part of it. Look, I'm not drinking right now. I am here right now.
Wait.
I'm
This
stressed.
is what sober Ashley wants to do.
This is what sober Ashley needs
Padinka is
us
on
to do.
board. She's like, fine, okay, we'll do this. What do we got to do? We got to get the kid out of here. We got to stash the necklace. What are we gonna do?
All
with the
right.
necklace?
If we need to hide it,
we need to
I'll
hide
eat it.
Out of character.
Well,
out
that's
of
dangerous.
character-
Indigestion.
out of character, okay? Like this is not Simone. I'm just gonna say something here to you guys. Is the fact that like before the kid was saying something about like wanting to give his mother money and stuff like that for the necklace, and now you're just taking the necklace from
Padinka
him
is going
and
to
not
give
giving it
him
to
money.
the cards.
We'll figure out something that's not a loaded weapon for this kid. But right now, the kid is in danger for being caught as a suspect, matching the description of this thing.
I'm saying
Oh,
you
sorry,
could give
it's
the
out of
kid
character.
some money. I'm saying you could give the kid some money if you're gonna take the freaking necklace.
Yeah,
from him.
that's I'm
Yeah.
already
And be
planning
like,
on
Oh,
doing
"Why
that.
are you not
Yes.
telling this to your mom? Why don't we give you some money for this since you
Yeah.
found it?" Instead of just taking it from him. But I don't know that part of the story yet.
Oh,
Using that
yeah.
money-
Yeah.
So I
You
So-
could also bribe him to like keep his mouth shut about everything.
Yeah, no,
I don't
like,
know.
Yeah,
Get away
kid,
from
we
me.
won't tell your mom.
So let's try to get the kid out and on his way home. I slip him 5 gold.
Okay.
Say I know
I'll
I know
slip him 5 gold too.
Not from Urk's pocket.
Oops.
No. just 5 out of my own.
Yeah.
And I know times are hard. I'll come over later. I'll talk to your mom. I might have a business opportunity for her.
Okay. So 10 gold in bribery. And could I see a with advantage, because it seems like a team effort, persuasion or intimidation, your choice, to run along and keep quiet?
My persuasion is a 5.
Okay.
Since
Whoop,
I'm
sorry. 21.
oh, okay.
Uh,
Was it going to be like are we helping her with
Yes,
this? 'Cause
yes,
we're
with
part of this
advantage.
conversation. Okay.
Yeah. So 10 gold. The child thanks. Look, you don't really have to stop by and tell her that's okay. But and
Tell her where you work, kid. Don't worry about that.
whoosh, he's gone.
Yay, go on, kid.
And now that does leave Saith and Barnabas, who would like to talk to you, and a necklace of fireballs on your personage. What all...
Are they in the? Wait, are they in there yet?
No, they're still outside
Okay.
doing their work, because basically,
You can drop it in the
unfortunately,
safe.
Hide it in the horse corpse.
Oh.
They'll never look there.
2 really great options here. One that's really awesome because no one's touching that dead
I've got
horse.
this little fanny pack with a horse mouth on it.
Can I just like put it in the horse?
That's not little.
oh,
Horses are huge.
I feel like they
Roll
might
into
have
the dead
questions
horse.
about the random dead horse.
so what I'm hearing is you're hiding the necklace of fireballs in the horse fanny. Is what I
Yes.
put together from that whole plan. But before that happens, Saith and Barnabas have been putting their plans together out there. You've seen them moving the bodies about. They're very polite about it, but they've basically reconstructed the crime scene. You've seen them working out there and talking to the individuals. They're paying a lot of attention to that gnomish figure that was amongst them. So there were the 3 humans, the gnome, and then the 4 halflings. Whereas the party seems to have been focusing on the halflings, he's focusing in on the gnomes. And he's sort of... You can see him doing a sight line, and you're peeking out to see where he is, and you see him basically lining up, and he keeps going like this and lining up with your doorway. And he'll be heading over probably in the next 3 to 5 minutes. What are you doing with those 3 to 5 minutes you have?
Did we see that? We saw him lining up.
You see him doing that sight line kind of thing, like a golfer
gnomish?
lining up a shot. He's like... Yeah, and it's
Clarity's
basically
mirroring
right to your
him.
doorway.
Oh my.
Wait. So this is the gnomish figure?
So no, this is Saith, the investigator. He's standing basically behind where the gnome's corpse was, and he's lining something up. And basically, his sight line is like dead on to your doorway. Like, and when you peek out, you're like, he's like looking
Like
at you.
Oh,
back
and we're peeking out.
You-
Great.
Everybody act natural.
Well, no, I mean,
Is it the-
it's not like you're.
Is it
It's
the
not like
back
you're like.
door, Casey?
It is the front door.
I thought our front door was the other side,
Front door
where the turret is.
Is this way, right? Is that what we said?
I thought the front door was where the
Wait,
turret was, because the north is where the big road is.
I was thinking we're like right where Urk was, that the front door was, but maybe I'm mistaken.
He's looking towards a door. So
Okay.
I'm fairly certain that this door up here leads to the second floor. This door over here leads to the first floor. So that's to the inn. You know what? I can switch maps. Let me switch maps. Let's get this
Oh, there we
sorted.
go. Yeah, smart.
Yeah. So first floor here. That's the door he's looking towards.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. And then the upstairs does come in from the north. I kind of assumed you were in the tavern down here.
Do we not?
Yes,
not have
that's
stairs
that's what I'm
from-
thinking.
And
do we
then
not
you
have
do have
inside stairs?
You do have a kitchen. There is no inside stairs. To
I
the
think
to
you
the.
guys have hidden this stuff, right?
Yeah, should we make like a check, like we hit it real good?
I would've-
hit
Should
it
we
real
have
good in the
Rogue
horse's
Rogue-
butt.
So
Ropey rope stuff?
so there are a few things you can do, and you have enough adventuring experience that you're like, we could go up the chimney, or you could go out a window and climb back in, and all those sorts of things. So that's fine. Could I see a stealth check for your hiding with advantage, because everybody's been in on this one? 19's pretty good. So you have thoroughly buried the necklace of fireballs, and then you're all back down in the tavern looking all casual, waiting for the conversation to happen. Is there anything else that you would like to do before Saith and Barnabas come in for a chat?
I'm finally busting out a mint wine, but like chill with it though. I'm acting natural.
Act natural.
I'm gonna
gonna
go
s- I'm gonna
outside with a glass of water and just sit down and watch them.
We're all drinking.
Urk's eating a snack.
Padinka's washing some dishes, some of the dirty mugs that Clarity was playing with earlier.
Clarity's
Super
mimicking
casual.
what's his face outside.
Still.
She's like, all right, my investigation is gonna get way better if I like watch this guy like a hawk. If I do as he does, I'm gonna be great.
I feel like Saith's probably just like, oh, that's just that weird person.
So I feel like the conversation is likely to happen on the porch, at least to start, because they're going to walk up and you'll be sitting there. So Barnabas and Saith come on over. And Barnabas says, well, thank you all for waiting. We have confirmed it was magic. It does appear to have been a spell of the fireball variety. Only one, thankfully, though it did strike down several. Now, we have several questions for you. Saith? And Saith steps forward. Yes, well, it seems that that gnomish fellow was actually rather urgently rushing in this direction. Based on his footprints and the length of his stride, he was actually running towards your establishment. Do you know why?
Is that the one?
Have we identified who the gnome is? Like,
Well-
do we know who this person is?
The noble lady was talking about the figure taking off the something off of a figure, but was it the gnome one? That's the one I didn't catch that note
Yes.
when I was writing it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
You should
the
check with our
gnome-
roommate.
The gnome had something taken from him.
Okay.
Fala the herbalist saw that happen. So Fala the herbalist saw someone take something and then run past where that little halfling would have been.
No, I have no clue why. Have no clue.
Is Volo home?
Volo is home. He's up in the attic. He's sleeping it off.
So we all rush out, and Volo's like, you know what? I'm just gonna crack open a book and sip
See,
some wine and go to sleep.
Volo's an expert on monsters, and one of the most important rules is never rush towards danger. Approach
Oh.
cautiously.
So
He didn't approach
I'm-
at all.
I'm gonna be real honest and be like, I don't think I know any gnomes.
You know one.
Aside from Padinka.
2 if you count, Erie.
Oh, you are a gnome, aren't you? I'm like,
Patinka's a
I'm
gnome?
I'm like, I only work for this gnome, is what I'm gonna say. But if there's another gnome in our house, we're going to find it. And I like,
The gnome's out there, sweetie.
Oh, he's out there. He said he ran
The
through our
dead
establishment.
gnome was running towards our establishment, but
Oh,
he
he's
died along the way, sweetie.
dead.
Yes.
Oh.
We're
Did
not going to
the-
find him in the city.
So you see Saith like actually narrow his eyes, like, are they playing dumb?
I'm gonna ask a question. Did this gnome was there any reason? I mean, was he carrying anything that he was bringing over? Why would a gnome be trying to come to us? We just basically set up shop here.
The only thing we've ordered recently that hasn't come in is a wolfhound, and I don't
He
think
didn't have a dog on him, did he?
You don't think he heard about Gemma's angels, do you?
I'm calling
wanted to
PETA.
join.
He was asking
no,
for help.
because we fought in the well thing.
Oh,
So-
and wanted our help. Maybe. I don't know.
So Saith is taking notes at a remarkable speed, and every detail that is like laid out and charted, and connections are being drawn. Is no that. While I appreciate you may have earned a reputation in the area, I don't think it would be in that fashion. You see, it appears that 2 of those humans were pursuing him. One appears to be a pedestrian uninvolved, but 2 were armed. He himself was armed, and speaking to some folks outside of the alley, they had rushed in this direction in a rather abrupt manner. It seems that this was his goal, but did not reach it. You weren't expecting him, though. And you do not know any gnomes beyond present company?
Volo
we
might.
haven't. Volo was a halfling, wasn't he?
Volo
I
was a
mean,
human.
that doesn't mean he wouldn't know any gnomes.
Human. Oh, well, Volo might know.
Look at our
somebody.
party.
So
Is
I'm like,
Volo upstairs
only-
or something?
yeah,
Yeah, I
Volo's
mean-
up in the attic. So you're pulling Volo into this one?
Yeah.
Volo!
There's no reason why
gonna
they
be
would
like-
question
I'm
us and
gonna
not
be like,
Volo.
the only other gnome I know about is her daughter.
Yeah, we
And I
have
think
no
there's a
connection in the
gender-
city with any other
I-
gnomes.
I think there's a gender difference between them.
There definitely is. So you pull Volo down, and Volo is sort of yawning, twisting up his mustache. Yes. What can I do
Oh,
for
God.
you? And you explain the situation, and he says, "Gnome. Well, let me think. There. I know quite a few. And they go back and forth, and they discuss some identifying marks, and it does seem that there is a connection. The gnome's name, Volo realizes, is Dalakar. Dalakar works for the Never Ember family. Lord Never Ember, who is now left the town, as well as the younger Never Ember, who is a patron of Volo's. Well, I can't imagine why he would be coming here at speed. I wasn't due for a manuscript in some time, and normally he wouldn't be involved in such a thing.
Maybe they had your money, the one where you didn't give us because the house?
Padinka just loves clarity in this moment.
I was hoping for another advance, but I don't think one would be coming through. No.
Oh, okay. Hey, real quick sidebar.
Mhm.
I was sitting here and I'm like, we're about to watch Volo get arrested for using friends on the guards. We're just about to watch Volo get taken away.
So
What?
So, on that note, Barnabas does look over at that one, because
I didn't say that in character.
No, he does do friends, and you see something unusual happen. Barnabas sort of leans over and has a quick conversation, and Volo produces a small certificate, and Barnabas reads it, returns it to him, and no more is said about it.
He has a license.
Perhaps. Would you like
friendly
to?
License of friendship.
Oh my
God!
How many friendship points does he have?
So, yes, Volothamp Geddarm
use.
has a special dispensation, perhaps related to the fact that he knows the previous Open Lord of Waterdeep, to use friends, but there's some restrictions on it that perhaps you'll find out if you ever get that piece of paper away from him. He keeps it very dear.
Oh my god.
We love a town that helps people with disabilities. Like,
That
There you go.
was awesome.
So,
And I thought I needed help getting friends.
You have a connect.
So, yes. So it seems that a gnome in the employ of the Never Ember family was attempting to get to the tavern. Whether to reach you or Volo, not really clear at the moment, but a fireball cut him out. Now, Saith and Barnabas ask you, do you have any other information that we might be able to use in investigating?
I can do this, and then she crosses her eyes and like stares at her nose and sticks her tongue out.
Have something about the smallish figure running off down the alley towards
Yes.
that other guy's place.
Yes, I think Saith had confirmed that with your pink friend, and Saith steps forward and sort of shows you a little diagram he's drawn on his parchment there that, yes, from this roof to this roof to this roof, and then off into the distance.
Oh, no. I thought there was a guy who ran down the alley.
Oh.
Yeah, not a little guy though.
Oh,
There
There
was
was
a noble woman or something that was.
Yeah,
talking
Ashley,
to
can you
Ashley,
relay
can
that?
give the details?
There was a figure that was from that one point on the roof, and then it went in that direction. But you've already seen that.
No, we're talking about the noble lady. Not the noble lady, the other one.
Follow
She
the
wanted to
herbalist.
go running
Or
down
the
the
herbalist.
alley.
The herbalist.
So,
Said
so
she
you and
saw a figure taking something from the
Oh,
gnome
I
and
can't
running down the alley.
confirm nor
But
deny.
that's the herbalist. You can go talk to the herbalist about
Yeah,
that.
you can
That's her
definitely.
witness.
Or don't. That's
Or-
cool too. Or don't.
yeah, when you say or don't, Saith's eyebrows just like doink. Like, really?
I'm gonna like lean in and be like, he probably thought she smelled nice in like the most awkward way I can as Simone. He doesn't met a lot of women other than us, and I don't think we're his type.
So I think unfortunately it sounds like Ashley has taken point on the deception, possibly fortunately, for Saith not to pay attention to certain details. Could I have a deception roll from Ashley on obfuscating some of these details?
Is that with advantage since we're with him and trying to help?
I don't know that you really all were on the same page for that deception. So,
I think-
no,
I think I'm
please.
trying to help him. I think I'm trying to help deceive him because I'm trying to be
With
like
the whole like
he
my
probably
girlfriend.
yeah, I'm
okay.
like he probably
Alright.
he probably has a thing for her and he's just trying to get her number. You
That
know?
sounds like a reasonable
Yeah.
argument. How about the deception with advantage?
Yeah, certainly. I'm sorry. It's kind of weird. I'm not really good at this, but for me to send the cops over to her house probably wouldn't help me out too much. Oh man.
Double 14 though. That's not awful.
So
Yeah, it's not
28,
awful.
right?
So you're like, yeah, you don't want to send, the cops raiding the herbalist's house, and she probably has a license for most of it. It's fine.
Hey, 20
real quick,
friendly.
is weed legal here?
Is there weed?
What kind of weeds do we have in this
Weeds.
So-
Are we
city?
allowed to have herbs?
Dandelions.
So you have the printout of the law. You can interpret that law however you choose. I don't believe there's any ban on those sorts of things in most of D&D.
Cool.
But so I think that's okay. So Saith says thank you. We're going to take the victims over to the temple. We'll have their bodies preserved for a time while the investigation proceeds. If you do think of anything or find anything, do please reach out to us. And we appreciate your time. And with that, Saith and Barnabas sort of pack it up and start going. They make sure that, they check in the normal stuff. Are you planning on leaving town anytime over the next 2 or 3 weeks? How would we reach you if we couldn't? And so on. But basically, they're moving away and letting you off. Now, I think that leaves us with 2 or 3 things that you might follow up on. Which of those things is top of mind for you?
The fires are put out, right?
Fires are put out. People are taken care of. Structures, everybody's sort of going back about their day. There is some mourning happening. Respectful visits will be paid throughout the course of the next 2 or 3 days as the victims are identified.
Ashley, as you are evidently lead investigator on this case, are we waiting until the cops are out of the area and all the activity has died down?
Yeah, can we make sure that it literally does chill out, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. So
Weren't you saying something about the this is out of character information? Wasn't Casey saying something about you knew of a tinkerer shop or something that would
Yeah.
know more information?
Sure.
The only other thing I can think of is the back alley route and the fact that it looked like he was running towards whatever that other shop was.
So Padinka would go out, and while everything's calming down, and help people with any rites that they needed done, ceremonial wise, and just done her public service bit, and in doing so tried to help move along the looky-loos and the mourners to make the area evacuate more quickly.
Sure. So you go ahead and do those steps. You help prepare for the rituals. You realize that one of the attendants who've been brought out is clerical in nature and is casting a spell upon each of the corpses to preserve them, a gentle repose spell that'll keep them from decaying. It'll also basically stop time as far as the body is concerned in case anyone had the interest in resurrecting or revivifying the corpses. Now, those sorts of services are very expensive, and you would not expect that for most of these folk, but it is a potential option.
Is that the same thing that was used on Ollie?
Yes,
Because she died.
Revivify was used on Ollie. Revivify has to be done within a certain amount of time, and it's very short. So they use Gentle Repose, then they can use Revivify, which is much less expensive than a Resurrection or a Raise Dead.
How long does the Gentle Repose last?
It can keep being renewed basically forever, but normally it lasts 24, 72 hours, 10 days. So
that's a lot. That's a lot more.
Yep. I knew it was a while. It's 10 days. So for the next 10 days, these corpses will be laid in state unless the crime is resolved, in case anyone needs the bodies for investigation. It is a little rough on the people, but that's a fairly high-level magic to be thrown about, and they're not sure who did it.
So while we're waiting for things to die out, Padinka's outside trying to help kind of move things along and be out there to help people. Sorry, I don't want you guys to hear my coughs. So maybe while I'm still kind of inside, I feel a little bit safer to maybe go in and just kind of look over the necklace a little bit in like a private room, maybe like somewhere that no one could kind of peer in, right? And then just kind of maybe ponder it and think where something like this might come from. Where would somebody find this kind of necklace to be able to use it?
So how about...
Can Ashley even find it because I hid it?
Yeah, like it's so deep in that horse.
And he's like trying to find it, and then he has to come to me because I'm gonna have some questions for him.
He's got guts on his hands. He's just like, where is it?
So yeah, I feel like that exchange definitely happens.
Cool.
So Simone and Ashley are in there. Ashley, can I get an investigation from you? But you two have your conversation, and then we'll figure out the results on that one.
Okay. Because I'm basically gonna be like, what are you planning on doing with this?
Just throw them. Wow. No, but I want to find out maybe like if there's some place I know that someone might like. This doesn't seem like something you can just easily get.
No.
It can't be something you can easily get. It's also something we
Yeah.
can get in a lot of trouble for having.
Yeah.
Also, yes. And on top of that, it is excessively stylish. So after you've cleaned it up and it was all tangled up and it was all sort of, wrapped around a halfling's wrist and dropped in water and all sorts of stuff happened, you finally lay it out and it is a masterful piece. This is something that could definitely grace the neck of nobility and not look out of place at all. And if you hadn't been thinking, I need something that can create fireball, you might not have been like, hey, this is a necklace of fireball. You might have just thought it was a very pretty and very expensive piece of jewelry.
Is there a craftsman signature on it?
I will need a
Investigation?
Give me a perception, actually.
Perception's my worst one.
Oh no.
Are you helping me with this?
I'm right there with you. That
Okay.
is true.
Do you have a better perception than one?
I do. Yes.
Do you
So I'm
have
probably
anything?
gonna help you.
Do you have anything that lets you see something that's very small?
Do I? Let me see.
So magnifying glasses are fantastically expensive. So if you're not like, yes, I definitely spent money on a telescope magnifying glass, you probably don't. Okay.
But I
Would
do have a
Volo have
scroll.
anything?
I do have a scroll case, although it's a necklace, so it's a little bit hard. But I could, kind of. But that's hard to do on a necklace. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like, what's that thing where like impressions?
Yeah.
No.
Probably not for what we're doing here, but let's go ahead and see
Okay.
the perception check with advantage.
Here's a question.
Cool.
Yep.
So better than 2.
Would Volo have anything
Oh,
that
cool.
would be
I didn't do it right.
microscopic-y looking?
No, Volo does not carry that. So you carefully inspect it, but you cannot find any maker's mark or indication on there.
Okay.
So just a thought: if the balls are easily removed and safely removed, we may be able to take it to a jeweler to find out who made the piece and the settings without
Them
whatever's
knowing about the
inside of it.
have
Just a
we
thought.
find the right person though, they're gonna know that this is either their work or someone might recognize it. I mean, we need a little more to go on, and I'm just trying to think. This is going to take a lot of money to make. There was one person that I spoke to today that did not match anyone else there. The noble lady.
I mean, I didn't want to say anything because I thought you had a thing for her, but.
Well, I might have a thing for the herbalist lady.
Oh, okay.
It's been uncovered. I'm actually not lying.
Sounds like maybe you have a thing for Simone.
Hey, herbs and beer, herbs and brewing. I mean,
So
got them hops.
Have I met the herbalist lady yet?
have you met the herbalist lady? I think we stepped in and out from the herbalist lady at one point.
I don't think so.
Fala is.
I don't think I was there for that.
Fala is.
she lets you up a rooftop.
Yeah, she did let you up
we
there.
did that, yeah.
But
Yeah, she let you up that rooftop.
Climbed her chimney.
she is a.
Climb through her skylight.
You know what? I apologize. I've been saying her wrong. Fala is a wood elf, and she does follow the god Corellin, and Fala identifies Larethian. Sorry. Fala identifies neither as male nor female. She goes by they. And
So
I
they go by
apologize.
they.
They go by they. I tripping up there.
Sounds like my kind of they.
Yes. And Fala actually gets along quite well with Urk's sister. So when Urk's sister swings by, Fala gives a little, how you doing? And
You got ins, man.
there you go. So Fala saw the person dart past. The
noble lady,
woman
though.
was coming out of Vincent Trench's offices, the investigator. Jezrin, the noblewoman, has left at this point. She told her story, got her attention, now has something to gossip about for the next few days, and has moved on. But she was at the Tiger's Eye, which was the private investigator, Vincent Trench, if you wish to follow up on that.
I think we should find Piss Pants. Piss Pants Never Ember.
Nice.
I was like totally forgot about this.
Yep. So yes, you could also reach out to Lord Neverember, the younger Lord Neverember.
Because something was apparently on our way here.
I knew
Never
exactly
Ember
who you were
Junior.
talking about,
Yeah.
but my mouth was full.
That would be Rainier. Make it a little hard on me. So who would the party like to visit with first?
Well, if they were trying to get a message to us, I feel like it
Yeah.
would be important to talk to the Never Embers.
I would
Yeah,
like
I feel
maybe
like-
Simone. Sorry, but Simone and I can go to Mr. Trench's because that seems like where that was leading to.
Okay.
Maybe you guys would wanna. So
Yeah,
good
that's
TV.
fine.
So for
So you want to see Never Ember again?
so for convenience, let's just keep everybody kind of trailing along after one another. Just,
Okay,
Fine.
You know, keep it together. We can hit them all in sequence.
split the
First-
party.
First, you always want to do that, dear, but that's actually when the party dies. I have a feeling we should talk to the people we have connections with first. Like it makes more sense because we already have like
A
to follow
network.
up with that. Yeah, and then to approach someone who we don't have a background with.
Do we know how to find Rainier?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I mean, like, we don't have cell phones and stuff.
No,
I'm
you
not
just-
waiting
you
for
just-
a letter
you
to
just-
get to him 4 days later.
You just go to a bar.
You can
go,
smell him.
right here, and then he's like shows up. No, it's not that big a city, so if you sort of ask around, you find your way to him, or you could just go to his house,
Or we could ask Bolo where he is, but
which would be go to his house.
Volo is his keeper.
Yeah,
But
I mean, you
there
would leave a message at his house. He would get it by the next day, assuming he gets home that night, and there you go.
Are we okay following up with Never Ember first?
Yeah, I
Sure.
don't know if we should leave because one, we got this thing. We can't just bring it with us. We could hide it again, real good.
Can we just hide it back in the spot it was really well, or do I have to re-roll for that every time?
Like,
No,
did we?
you've,
Yeah, we already.
you've,
we're good.
you've made a secret spot.
Cool.
Okay,
Secret
so-
spot.
a
Super
secret cache
spot.
in the horse.
And the
I've
horse
hollowed
fanny
out the
pack.
horse.
I guess we're keeping the horse. That's our hidey
One of
hole.
the-
It's the
One of
hidey
the eyeballs.
That's our
went
safe.
red with
It's the
fire.
hiney hole, hidey hole.
tiny hole.
That's awful. I love it.
That's not getting through customs.
That's the tavern name.
We ran the adult warning early before this report went, so there you go.
That's the back door. That's where you get the good stuff.
The hiney hole, hidey hole.
That's where we put the scraps after we're done with the
Oh my
tavern
gosh,
day.
we call it the hiney hole, and then on the front door we say back door. And then you have to open it. so-
Entrance through back door.
When you go to the back door, it says exit only.
Rear entrance only.
How do I get in here?
You
Amazing.
don't.
Worst bar.
Okay. So back on track. Back on
Pee
track.
pee.
guys.
We're on pee pee.
So we finally at least got a name for the bar, but we're gonna go to Never Ember.
So would you like to go to Never Ember, or would you like Never Ember to come to you?
I mean,
Rainier's
he would
pretty
love
affable.
to
He'll go
come.
either way.
Of course he would.
I can show him how to juggle anywhere we are, so like, I'll
Okay.
just pick
You have
things
the
up,
back
you know?
door.
Bring him to the tavern.
Bring
So,
him here.
so you
Sure,
extend an
bring him here.
invitation. It takes a few hours for it to find its way to Rainier, and then for him to cross the city. He shows up, what can I do for you?
There you go,
There was-
PP, and I hand him a drink.
Does anybody remember the? Okay. Does anybody remember the gnome's name? It was like
It was Dalakar.
Dalakar. Dalakar was killed after a fireball burned several halflings and other people by some stalls, and he was killed running in the direction of our tavern. And you're the only tie we can think of that we have to him. So we don't know why he would have been coming here.
So Rainier looks suitably aghast. Dalakar, who is one of my father's most loyal servants and assistants. He never believed the rumors about my father, about the stolen dragons.
Dragons?
Wrong dragon, sweetie. The money, not the thing.
Yes, the coinage, dear, the
okay.
coinage. Yes. Still very important, but Dalakar took it upon himself to prove my father's innocence. I know he was investigating the Stone of Galore, the rumored key to the vault where this wealth was hidden. I can't imagine what he must have gotten mixed up in. Now, if he was rushing to find you, perhaps he knew that you had assisted me. The rumors are about town. I don't know why he wouldn't have come to me first, though.
There might just not have been enough time. We understand he was being chased.
Oh, yes.
Quick question. The key that we're talking, this out of character, the key that we're talking about right now to the money or the whatever it was, is that the same thing that the Zents and Xanthar's guild were looking for?
It is the Stone of Galore.
The Stone of Galore, yeah, okay. I was like, whatever happened to that thing?
Where did Gemma come from again?
She was in a mine. We found her right outside of a mine, and then she became the strongest member of our party.
Way far away from the city, so.
Yeah, that was in Red Larch, I believe.
Better not be Gemma they're coming for.
Different times.
Look, Gemma was before me, so he's just talking about a magical stone. It just made me feel a little curious.
Maybe
Just,
Gemma
kicks her
knows
up and is
something
like,
about this.
I think has Gemma been living on the top of the bar and just watching over everybody?
This is
She sleeps in my room.
So I think by lore, the Stone of Galore is likely Gemma's long lost brother, but we won't discover that until much later in the episode.
That's
It'll be
why
a
you're not
dramatic
gonna make
reveal.
me get rid of Gemma.
So what can you tell us about this? Because there were some very strange things around this event, such as a very noble looking woman, at least, whether or not she is, that could be questionable.
Well, do you remember her
Trying
name?
to
And you guys have it, so you give it to her. Yes, she's a lady, reasonably well established. I think she was having some trouble with her husband recently.
Was it Janessa? What was the name?
Now you said Janessa, I'm not going to remember it. It was
Jazara?
Jezrin.
Jezrin.
Hornraven.
But she seemed really she was in our neighborhood, and she seemed really persistent to share information about this.
Yes. Well, from what I understand, and this is also purely on the, Jezrin found out that her husband was sleeping about without an agreement. So a lot of talk's been happening, and I think she's looking for basically anything else to talk about, or at least something juicy about her husband to reveal instead.
Maybe. If a woman's petty.
Well, petty's one thing, interested in the estates are another.
Who's the husband again?
Well, that would be Lord Hornraven.
Does he
And-
have a raven? Does he call it with a horn?
I don't believe so. I think it's just a matter of the crest thing.
So do they have any actual connection in this little part of town?
Well,
Can we get a horn for our raven?
Why would she be here of all places?
Private
Someone of nobility.
investigator.
Private
Yeah.
investigator.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So private investigator, probably trying to dig up some dirt, but that's someone I guess we need to talk to. Sorry, I had one drink, so.
Yes, that does seem reasonable, though. I don't know how that would tie in.
She
with
knew
poor
an
Dalakar.
awful lot about where everything was, as if she had seen the whole thing going on.
Well,
It's odd that a person of her stature would be in our neighborhood to begin with, and then also be there to see everything.
I'm here.
It could very well be an extreme coincidence. It's just we wanted to follow all of our leads.
Yeah.
We're not casting doubt or blame on her, of course. We wouldn't dare cast any scruples is not the right word, but cast any
Animosity.
shadow on the noble lady. We just want to make sure that we have all of our facts correct.
Mr. Embermans, do you think that your dad might be trying to get in contact with us if Mr. Dalakar was here? I mean, like, they're close, right? They're buddies?
I really can't see my father having any more to do with the city at this point. I think he's basically turned his back on it and headed back up to Neverwinter.
How far is Neverwinter from here?
Oh, several days and days journey up the coast.
So Dalakar has been researching something, and that's been like his only focus. And then of all days he comes by to bring us something. To talk about something.
To his apartment!
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. I mean, what's his name again?
Rainier Neverember or Dalakar?
I've just been calling him PP now.
Yeah.
So Rainier, buddy, guy. If Dalakar was going to be bringing us something, I know you don't know much, but listen, I'll tell you one thing, and we can trust you, right? You're a pal, right? We're buddies? Okay. That lady saw whatever it was that did this pick something up off of Dalakar. The guards don't know this, and we're trying to keep it hush-hush for now because that might be some sort of connection to this.
Well, I mean, the only thing I can think of that Dalakar would consider that important would be the stone itself or some concrete lead on the stone's location. Now, when the Zentarum and the Xanathar's guild were fighting over me, it sounded like they either had the stone or they had just lost the stone. So I suppose Dalakar might have retrieved it or knew who had it and be coming to fetch you either to help him get it or to guard it.
So I think we might. Man, that's a long shot, but if that's true, then one of those two groups has that stone now,
Or a key to it.
or a key to it.
Or a different group. There's tons of them in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the ones that knew about it and that were already connected to you, something's up.
Are we good with Rainier?
Hey. Can we get your dad's address? I think he should know about Dalakar.
Or can you get a message to him for us?
No, I want to do it.
Hey,
Oh, okay, fine.
like when you're like, he's like, I don't want to talk to my dad. Yeah,
I'll
but
do it. I
Dalakar
like
was
talking to dads.
maybe not this dad. He's a little, but Dalakar was a strong supporter of the family. I will see that my father is notified, or at least that word is sent. I don't know if he listens anymore.
Then is it? But he claimed Dalkar out of the thing. I know what they're in lineup, but like, has anybody claimed the poor guy?
So Rainier lets you know he'll take care of.
Okay,
He'll take care of it.
Thank you.
He's a member of the household, even if it's an extended household. So
Okay.
The body will be claimed eventually, when such things are resolved. Now, let me just see here.
If you can, when you talk to your father, just let him know, because he was coming to our establishment, obviously for something. We really regret that we were too late, because we didn't know what was happening.
Well, I certainly can't fault you. I mean, you've gone out of your way to help me and my family.
It's not that. I'm asking you to send that message to your father, so that way, if he decides to share something, it might encourage him.
Anything,
Yes.
please let us know.
I will, of course, pass that along. And now that man you saw fleeing, and Rainier gets a description, and from what you've echoed along, and I'll have my folks look into it. I do have some friends among the Harpers still, and perhaps they can at least find me who that is.
The man that we saw fleeing, or whatever it was said to be, and again, this goes back to that noble lady, but I mean, it's too particular to not have to follow up on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the man was from the herbalist.
Yep. So.
Oh, the man was okay.
Yeah.
So the puppet thingy.
The
puppet thingy was from the noble lady.
Yep.
Okay, so that's so man. Okay, it makes more sense.
There's a lot of characters.
I thought they were connected for a second there.
They might be, but we don't know yet.
Yeah.
We know them as two separate entities.
About the man, there's that, but there's one last thing. Do you know anything about the Temple of Gond?
Oh, of course. They put on a grand parade every year.
Yeah. Well, there's this thing that we saw, or not we didn't see, but that witnesses saw. Whatever it was that threw that magic down, said it looked more like creation of some sort. Something that, in my expertise, I don't know this as well, but it seems to link closely to something that might be related to that Temple of Gond, the ones who are doing those parades, but they all do other inventions. I mean, where can I go and talk to somebody about that? Because that seems like too much of a coincidence of some sort of figure like that matches something that would come from them.
Well, I think the House of Inspired Hands is the largest temple in the city. They host the parade. And he gives you directions to where that is, over in the Sea Ward, on the corner of Sea Watch Street and Shark Street. Now, it'll take me a little time to speak to my friends and see if they know anything about that man that ran away. But I have no more information than you, so if you wish to stop by and visit with the House of Inspired Hands, then we can reconvene and see if we have any additional information. Oh, kitty!
Yeah,
you were telling the truth. There's sharks.
Sharks!
Sharks.
Street sharks.
All right. So, what are we doing now? Are we going to the Temple of?
Well, there's the temple, and there's the private investigator, and there's I guess wherever this guy lived. Or the tinkerer's shop.
What time of day is it right now?
So I'd say you've probably burned up an hour or 4. You're probably in the noonish area.
Okay. So so 3 things. We can follow up on the person. We can go to the House of Inspired Hands. Then those probably would be the 2 juiciest of leads. And if we went to that private investigator later, now I'm starting to think it might be better to have more info.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, toss up between House of Inspired Hands or the guy who ran away.
Let's go to the Tinkerer shop
Sure.
first, where the guy ran away.
Cool.
That's it. That's Padinka's instinct. Let's go talk to some Tinkerers.
That's what I'm kind of thinking.
Okay. So House of Inspired Hands is the Temple of Gond. That's where they do a lot of the tinkering. The man who ran away ran down an alleyway past the furniture shop, and Rainier will be looking into if he can get an identification on that person. So
Okay.
House of Inspired Hands is probably the place that I'm hearing most to head for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the House of Inspired Hands, and I don't have a visual for this one, so imagination time. The House of Inspired Hands looks like a cross between a temple and a workshop. The symbol of Gond, a toothed cog with 4 spokes, is displayed prominently. You see the silhouette of a humanoid shape perched on the rooftop. It extends its arm, releasing a tiny metal sparrow into the sky. The bird does a few loop-de-loops, then veers, is getting closer and closer, and it's coming right for you. Like, what are y'all doing?
Could you just repeat what it was the House of what Hands?
The House of Inspired Hands.
Thank you.
And it's tooth cog with 4 spokes.
4
and
spokes.
What else?
So there's a little humanoid up on top of the roof, and that little humanoid has just released a little mechanical bird, and you see it flap, flap, flap. If you remember, like the things from like the Franklin Institute, you know, with the little wings, it's like whoop, 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 and then it just dive bombing straight towards the party.
Is this as big as my raven, or is my raven bigger?
This is about the size of a sparrow, so your raven would be about a half again as big, and this is very lightly made.
And
Burke is like cautiously like kind of not readying his weapon, but like prepared for anything.
Padinka's the shortest one, but she is going to try to reach up and grab it.
I was going to say Clarity's going to catch it right out because I have a thing where I can catch missiles.
Then you do that then, because Padinka will just be like lunging.
I was going to have my raven go and try to pluck it out of the sky.
Okay, so I think Raven would get there first because Raven can go up in the air.
Everybody gets a chance.
So can I have an attack roll from the Raven?
Oh, great.
Wait, do an attack roll for the Raven.
Do you have a Raven token? Did I give you one? If not, just roll a d20.
I'm going to click on him.
If nothing opens, just go ahead and roll a d20.
A d20. We'll see what happens.
That's pretty good. It is not. So it's veering. The Raven gets in the way, and it sort of alters course to aim right at the Raven. The Raven picks up at the last second, grabs it, and brings it down, and with a crash, it hits the ground. It is now all mangled and bent and twisted.
He was going to try to catch it in its claws.
He tried to catch it. It just like bop, 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 and then it just fell apart. It looked like it was not very well made. You hear like a little skitter, 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 and that little humanoid figure that was up on the roof has now disappeared into the temple.
Can I chase him?
It's up on a roof. You're down on the floor. You'd have to go in and up, but you could do it that way.
Padinka's going to
chasing him.
Okay.
I still have my grappling hook and rope. So
okay.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Padinka was going to investigate the bird first to see if it actually posed any danger, or if it had a message, or if it was just something goofy and cute.
More of a experiment gone wrong than goofy and cute. It was a flying device, but at this point, Urk's like vroom, heading into the temple.
Okay, well, she's going to pick up the device and carry it in.
Got it.
But not running.
Now, Urk, Urk, you're wearing a big crocodile ensemble with a giant great axe, correct? Okay.
Yes, and 2 small hand axes.
So you're like, doom, 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 doom. This is not.
I didn't say I'm chasing him stealthily.
Oh, yes. So this is not the normal attire for a visitor to the House of Inspired Hands. You're a little off-brand. So as you're like charging towards a dragonborn woman, sort of just like looks up, tracks that you're coming in the door, and just sort of steps in front of you like, can I help you? And she's sort of like doing the fade back because she's not sure what you're doing right now.
A little guy just threw something at us, and I'm trying to find him, and you're in my way.
How little?
How little, Mr. DM, sir?
How little, Mr. DM, sir?
Pharaoh.
So, like, thinking back on it, even at that height, he was only maybe a foot tall. And as soon as you're like, you just see, like, scowly face. And this Dragonborn just turns on her heel and starts marching in that direction, like, womp, womp, womp. Her footsteps are literally heavier than yours. She comes down all heel.
Someone's in trouble.
I'm assuming that I'm following, by the way. I'm just
Yeah, we're walking in.
Totally fine. And she sort of like looks down so that she can look behind her at you, and she says, "My name is Sister Valletta. Please follow me." Boom, boom, boom. As she's heading up and up. Now, the Temple of Gon is full of all sorts of wondrous invention. They focus on the mechanical more than the magical. So if you have an interest in such things, you see a working clock, several flying machines, helmets that can allow you to go underwater, all sorts of neat stuff. A giant submarine shaped like a manta fish. But Valletta, ignoring all that, bam, 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 up the stairs to the very top, what would basically be the bell tower behind the temple. And you hear her banging on the door, and as you come up behind her, you can see that there's a large wooden door. There's a big lock in it, and the Dragonborn turns the key in the lock, and the key goes all the way around, and the door doesn't unlock. She gets even more scowly face and starts banging on the door again.
Can I step in and try to pick the lock?
So you sort of step up with a, "Can I help with that?" And she sort of looks at you, takes a little deep breath, takes the key out, gestures for you to go ahead, and she says, "Nim, when I get in there, we're going to have a conversation."
Clarity's got jazz hands because she's trying to get her hands inspired.
Padinka's been making her way a little more slowly and like peeking into each of the rooms and getting ideas for what she can do to her products next.
Sounds good. This is definitely the place for it if you wish to mass produce some of those models. But could I see a lockpick attempt there?
What do I roll for that? Because I don't think I've used my lockpick yet.
You can use your sleight of hands. It should be about the same modifier. That's pretty good. It takes a while, but eventually the door does open, and inside you see a small figure that looks a bit like this. Now, no sword, but stylish, elegant, about a foot tall, made of metal, and looking, perhaps, to some like a puppet.
I'm just kind of like, and my facial expression just
That's
going
him.
like, that's the thing.
What is he doing in the room?
Were you near Trollskull Manor earlier today?
So as you start talking, start reacting, and Simone starts asking, Valletta's, "Oh, I'm sorry, Nim actually can't speak, but she can understand, can't you, Nim?" Now, Nim, were you throwing things off the roof again? And Nim's like, "Nim, they have," and she points to where you have the bird. "They have it. Did you throw it?" Nim's like, I'm terribly sorry. She's a bit of a unique creature, and she has trouble sometimes controlling her impulse to invent.
Can you tell me, not to be rude, Nim, but what is Nim? Like, what exactly is she?
Oh.
Is this a particular construct or creature or person?
Nim is actually short for nimble right. That's what she is. She's a invention from the Lantanese people. They gave us to her as a gift. And she's wonderfully creative. She really does channel the inventiveness of Gond. But she lacks a bit of restraint. So sometimes her inventions go awry, and sometimes we have to take her tools away when she climbs out on the roof. And at this point, you can see she's basically like packing up Nim's toolkit and getting ready to take it out of the room like she's grounding a child.
We're gonna get along great.
So can I? Sorry.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
When did you get Nim?
Nim's been with the temple for about 4 years now.
And does Nim ever leave the temple areas?
Well, Nim is not supposed to leave the areas, are you, Nim? And Nim's like,
Can I ask you something?
Of course.
That's Sister Valletta, you said?
Valletta.
Valletta? Sorry. Have you heard about anything that's been going on today?
Nothing particular. What are you referring to? And you know, with the size of the city, that the fireball is big news locally, but as you get further,
really.
It's not gonna.
How far is it from us? Like, where in the city is it?
You're over in the Sea Ward at this point, so if we flip back
like
over
by the
to
docks?
city here, over towards the docks.
Okay.
Okay. So we are over in the North Ward-ish area. I'm kind of like, can I like look at the group? I'm like, I'm gonna spell right now, but like something happened in the North Ward area today, and something was thrown off of a roof, and there are reports that what was seen was a puppet-like creature, just like Nim. And this is a bit of a distance, I know, but I would have to ask, when you say that Nim's not supposed to leave, I mean, some things have happened today it's not good. And we're trying to follow up on that.
Do you know if there are any other creations like Nim?
There you go.
Well, Nim hasn't left the temple grounds today. I do know that. And I can't imagine there would be another Nimblewright in town. They're rather remarkable creations. And as she's talking, could I have a quick insight check from each of the party members?
My luck has drawn out there.
Okay, so Clarity, you key in on it instantly, because you know that the moment that question got asked, Nim tried to not get noticed. Like, she was like, I'm out of this conversation, nobody here. I'm just over here being quiet in my room, perfectly behaved. Whereas Valletta's like, no, there shouldn't be another one. Nim's like,
Who all noticed it?
I think it was just you. I think you were on that wavelength when you're like, we're gonna get along fine, and you were like starting like you party, I party, and
Urk is looking.
Oh, mute.
I'm gonna just like I'll have that realization, and I'll wink at Nim. And I'll be like, Well, I mean, Nim was here the whole time playing with that plane, right? Plane, bird.
Bird plane.
Superman.
Planes don't exist in this world.
And
They might, I don't know.
Nim's like, and you realize Nim's got something behind her back, and she sort of like turns so that Valletta can't see it, and then leans it towards you.
I'll grab it.
And as
sneakily as I can.
As she does, it is. Hope this comes up right.
I want everybody to know I would die for Nim.
Okay.
Nim's secret.
So do you see that wand with an umbrella on the top?
Yes.
Okay, that is what she is like trying to get to you, like, could you take this? But she can't talk, so that's just like, and she has limited facial expression, so it's sort of like one eyebrow and then like a shudder effect.
I'm gonna try and take it and put it in my scroll case that hangs on my back.
Okay.
Here's the inspiration Padinka was looking for.
Oh my god.
Umbrellas included.
The umbrella effect
One
really
heck
gets
of an
it.
inspiration. Oh goodness.
Do you want me to make a sleight of hand?
Yes, please.
Let me make sure I'm not Urk.
This is awesome. But not as awesome.
So I think there's maybe a little too much like winking and sort of like almost giggling going on as like, and Valletta just like looks over and like she doesn't have eyebrows, she's just got that scaly ridge, but that scaly ridge rises anyway. She's like, really?
I didn't do anything.
What is it?
You don't know me. I'm gonna shove it in my scroll case anyway.
Come on, what is it?
It's mine. It's a gift. It's a gift.
I'm gonna slide a hand from Clarity, if that's okay.
Can I contest that with a dexterity thing?
So I feel like no matter what
I think
happens,
she's trying to
it's just
slide a hand so you can hide it, honey, not to.
I don't know what she's gonna do.
She took the mint wine.
So a little struggle happens, and
Now he's sober.
So like, yeah, that's true. So like the device passes back and forth, and so Valletta turns and looks to Nim and says, "What does it do?" And Nim sort of looks about, and she gestures to herself, and then she pulls the little trigger, and and Valletta sort of like, why would you need a device that tells you where you are?
Don't you? This city's huge. We're not on a grid system here.
What is this device now?
Can I lean in and whisper while he's asking about the device and just be like, Nim's not supposed to leave here, honey. Maybe act a little bit more careful if you want to be friends.
But I mean, look at how big this place is. It's pretty big, right? It's a temple.
Good job. Good job.
No, I'm serious. I'd get lost in here. Look at all the bookshelves and all the everything. Look at
It
I don't know where I am
big in
now.
here.
So Valletta's a pretty smart cookie, and she's sort of like looking at Ashley and said, why were you asking about another Nimblewright?
There was an incident that happened next to where we're currently living that there was a Nimblewright scene or something quite similar in frame and stature to your Nimblewright that was launched up to a roof and running along the top. And I think they may have dropped something.
Can I like then lean in? Is there any way that I can whisper to this Dragonborn's ear?
Sure.
Can you find it?
I just,
Like lift up a flap? Hello?
That's an elephant.
so she
I don't
leans
wanna-
in, so she leans in so that they can you can talk.
I don't want to raise alarm. but whatever it was launched a fireball down and killed some people. Then it ran off, dropped something down, while something else picked up something from somebody. We don't know if this was connected, but people are laughing.
Padinka is having such a hard time. She just wants to be like out with it. But
I don't want
wondering
to raise alarm to the little thingy.
okay, just know that.
I'm like a thing with a thing and a thing and a thing
Okay,
and a thing.
all
And
right.
I'm just like,
So
A fireball was thrown and killed people, and the thing that did it looked like whatever Nim is. That's why I whisper.
okay, so Padinka's gonna get down on Nim's level.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too far to go, but she's gonna get down on Nim's level and just be like, "Hi, I'm Padinka. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. You don't have to worry about me thinking you're bad or good, okay? I just want to know the truth. Were you out on rooftops other than the monastery today? Not at all. Are there other creatures like you in the city?
Can I do an insight check just to see if that was a lie?
Did you ever try to create other beings like you before? You're so good at this, at creating things. Maybe you might have.
And she
Okay.
sort of like walks over and like looks back at Valletta and like, I don't want to get in trouble for this. And then she sort of like slides part of what looks to be the solid wall, and there's a whole nother tinker setup, and in there is a little outline blueprint of another Nimblewright, and it's definitely missing.
She made a baby.
You just didn't.
Oh,
You just
no.
Nim. You just didn't want to be alone, did you? Okay,
And then
I
she-
understand,
and then she-
sweetie.
She points to the little umbrella device, and then she points to the missing, and she
Does this tell us where the other Nimblewright is? Oh, thank God you created that. That's very clever.
and beam.
Wow.
I think, guys, we have the lead. Valletta, I know that Nim has been causing you a little chaos, but
So Valletta's a big dragonborn. She's a big bronze dragonborn, and she's already got like half of the other set of supplies in one arm that she's about to like march out the door with and dump off and come back, and just she starts going around banging on the walls like she's keeping it together, but Nim's definitely grounded forever and ever and ever.
I have
gonna
a follow-up question though for Valletta,
Mhm.
and when it comes to these Nimblewrights, is it does this actually happen? And if so, I mean, do they make themselves? But then, what would happen to cause another one to do something like that?
And Valletta sort of gives you the talk about this in a minute, and she finishes clearing out the room, and she cracks a couple of the stone walls as she's punching them, checking for any other secret stashes, and then she steps outside. She calls you over. I appreciate you being considerate of Nim's feelings, but if she's created a being that's capable of murder, it needs to be taken care of immediately.
Who all's out in the hallway with her?
At this point, just you all.
All of us? Okay.
She's basically, Nim is now in Nim's room. You've been brought out to talk, and you might have given like Nim the like I'll be back, but whoop, she's grounded.
I slip her my address so we can write to each other.
So
help with
this
We realize that this is a problem. We're in pursuit of this creature, and we are going to take care of it. Whatever means necessary to get that job done is. We're going to investigate it, and then we're going to make the call as we need to. We understand that if this creature is not able to be healthy for civilization, that civilization can't stand to have it.
I
Do we know
appreciate
how to
your tact.
use Nim's little thing to find the other one?
Pull the trigger, apparently.
Pull the trigger, and it does hot and cold. So
Yeah,
when you're pointing in
but
the
I
right
think-
direction, it spins faster.
I think we do need to understand more about this other creature though first, because there is always the chance that it got involved in a bad crowd.
Hey, you know, when you're young and you get swayed by the ways of the world, we're going to make sure that there's no chance of redemption before we do anything.
Because it's very clear that Nim is a very naive creature, and I'm sure if Nim was anywhere else, the same thing could have happened to Nim as well.
Yes. That's actually what concerns me.
Well, it
Nim
seems that
is-
she's very lonely.
I can help.
Yes, well, she has an amazing number of play friends. I think there's just that there's no one like her. And
I understand.
I have some concept of what it takes to make a nimble right. Nim does not have that ability.
But the Latinese people may.
Yes, they do, but it involves a level of magic as well. Nim has a
Where-
soul.
Where does
Nim-
that soul come from?
Well, you see, it can be drawn into a
Was
creation.
she someone before, or is that just from a different plane?
Everyone was someone before.
Is there a way to do some sort of arcana check onto, like, if something may have a bad soul, or if it doesn't have a soul, why it would go out searching for
So that's
something that...
Detect evil.
so
Detect
that
evil,
one. So
yeah.
that's a whole religious discussion, and you are aware that is a up in the air sort of religious discussion.
But
Souls are recognized and spirits are recognized, and because speak with dead and all that sort of stuff. So they are concrete things.
yeah.
Souls 100% in D&D out of character, and as far as a character would believe, cycle. So you die, you go to some form of judgment. Kelemvor says, hey, you go this way, you go that way, and then eventually they cycle back in. There are things that can interrupt that cycle, but as far as everyone can tell, the number of souls is finite, but can be divided. So that's
Do they hang out?
the
Do
world.
they hang out in the astral plane until they come back, or?
Depends on what soul and where.
Okay.
So there's all sorts of options, and your characters are vaguely aware of some of those. So when she says, hey, this creature, Nimbleroys have a soul, that means that there's a massive amount of magical energy that is equivalent to what is done for gods creating people.
And the Latinese people know how to do this.
Latinese
What
people know
are
how
the
to do that.
Latinese people?
Yeah, are there any Latinese people in the city?
There are people of Latinese descent. There is no one of that skill set here. The Latinese people that they would refer to as like the institutions in that area have at the top end that ability, similar to how in this city the black staff can cause those giant colossi to walk about and smash things. That's the specialty of this city. They can do that.
Mhm.
So the black staff wouldn't be able to do what they do.
Maybe with work, but not at the level. They would approach it in a different fashion. The
We don't
Latinese
really
people.
have...
The Latinese people are also the ones who do things like make guns. So they are the mechanically advanced civilization here. So when she says that, a nimble right can't reconstruct itself, that's going to be an incomplete being. It's going to be a mechanism at best, a mockery at worst. And if something untoward had gotten into it, that's even more of a concern.
But has anybody had access to Nim? Because it seems almost like they would have had to have known it existed.
I don't know. So what I was hoping is if you could retrieve whatever it is that Nim's created and bring it back here, we can see that it's
Understand more about it.
yes, researched and if necessary, destroyed, if possible, preserved, and perhaps we can learn from it. And I'm willing to offer you 500 gold for this service, though I would ask, if possible, that you don't allow this to come to the attention of any other authorities. I'll speak with the Blackstaff, but if a Nimblewright or something that looks like a Nimblewright is creating murder in the city, Nim, she's not a citizen.
She'll
They'll
be
just-
taken away.
We understand.
She'll be destroyed.
I won't let that happen.
We're not about to go to the authorities for anything, but I will tell you that there was someone from the Black Staff's organization that was working with the guards.
There would be if there had been a spell cast.
I'm just saying, if you don't want any attention, I wouldn't talk to the Black Staff right now.
I will take that under advisement, but if, as you
Do
mentioned,
what
they
you
had
think that you
they had a
need to
report
do.
that something puppet-like was there, likely they'll be coming to call and check on Nim as well.
I don't
Right.
think they didn't have a report of that.
Oh, well, that would
They
be...
had a report of a fireball. The mage, the Black Staff, was there taking a report. They knew it was magic, and they knew
But
things were
not of
going
the-
on.
But they knew
Not
that
of the puppet-like thing.
But they knew about the footsteps on the roof, which
They
were
did.
very
They
small.
did. So they knew
So
that
there-
something was there, but that
Okay.
could have been an imp. That could have been lots of other things. So
Hopefully,
So there's a
they'll
chance-
be chasing other things down for a while.
There's a chance that they may, but I don't think they put all of the pieces together yet.
got it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start wrapping up for the evening here with a little bit more information dump. So Nim is grounded in her room. Valletta gives you the information and the detector, and you're able to start using that. You get back to your house to kind of regroup and review, and Rainier has sent you some information. It turns out that the person who got away does match the description of a known Zentarum, a rather unpleasant person known to deal with the bloody work.
Those are the ones that we're friends with.
Those are the ones that you're friends with.
Nice.
This one isn't one that you recognize the name of. And I've lost my name.
So
It's Casey.
I think I'm missing information from back when we were dealing with the Zentarum and the Zenithars, because I think that was probably back during when I was missing from the group for a bit. So can really just a quick recap of what they are?
Sure. So
They're like a mob.
there are
The mobs.
two competing mobs. The Zentarum are known as the Black Network. They are all across the Sword Coast, so they are very widespread, and they deal in black market goods, basically. That's their big thing.
Are
So-
those the guys that we saw Starman? Star-Lord?
Yes.
Yes.
Star
Yeah,
Song.
the
Star
name
Song?
we're not
Yes.
supposed to
Yes.
call
Star Child,
him.
yeah.
So that's them.
Yes, that's them.
Ooh, okay.
Xanathar is a much more local group, and they are headed up by a Beholder. Beholder, the big floating eyeball with the eye stalks on the top.
Okay.
They are a much tighter group in this city, almost exclusively. So they have a bigger presence here, whereas the Zentarum have a bigger, widespread presence. Neither one is good guys. They're both shady. Urk happens to have a sister in the Zentarum, and you've done a errand or two from them. But you're at the street thug level, whereas this fellow, who they report to you as Erstol Floxin, is on the assassin level.
And what is his involvement? I was not paying attention.
Sure. Erstol Floxin is matches the description of the person who stole an item from the gnome after it died and got away.
Got it.
So Erstol has been associated with one of the noble houses in the area, and is supposedly holding up with someone whose name I will get for you when we get back from the and go over the break, because I've opened up too many screens because this was just a crazy number of names and I've lost track.
Was it from what's his face that he took it from? Dow
Yes.
guy?
Yes.
Okay, I thought the little thing took that. It was
No.
not.
No, the thing was on the roof the whole time.
Thing was on the roof the whole
okay,
time.
all right.
Yep. So Growlhund Villa is the location where Erstol is said to be. Lady Growlhund and Lord Growlhund are lords and ladies. And they are in the direction that Erstol fled, as well as the direction that the Nimblewright fled. So that's kind of the direction that you may want to head, remembering lords and ladies has special protection. Please make sure to check your laws. And I think that's where we'll start to wrap. Does anybody have anything that they would like to do or say as we start to bring things to a close?
Padinka does?
Padinka!
Where's my puppy?
Where is your puppy? Right over there. You got to go pick him up. You can swing
Okay,
by
I'm
and
gonna
pick
go
him up on the way home.
He did get roasted, so.
No, he's fine. So a mount has been acquired.
What's he gonna name it?
I don't know. What is the name?
I will tell you
Hot
next
dog.
time, because I have
Gonna
not
be
gotten there
hot
yet.
dog.
No, it's not.
Hot
gonna be named
dog.
Hot dog.
Sausage.
Little weenie.
Shrimp.
Coffee?
I will name him by next time.
Name him
We
coffee.
still haven't named
Oh,
our
he's Irish
tavern,
coffee.
so.
I thought we did. I thought it was the hidey hole.
Okay, I love it. I'm
Heiny-
writing that down.
Heiny Heidi hole.
We're gonna
The
have to
hiding.
open up another thing on Discord to figure out the dog's name.
So we will see how that one goes. Thank you everybody for playing. I'm going to shut down the stream in just a minute or two here. This is Dungeons & Dragons playing 5e edition. We are working our way, sort of, through Dragon Heist. And this is Captain Reboot. Like, follow, and obey. And we'll catch you later.
Thank you.
Are we gonna
Yay.
heist a dragon?